Hey, how's it going? Great to see you again. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Tim Simpson. If you haven't been here before, hit the subscribe button and all that sort of neat stuff. And yeah, all these things below, you know how to click those. If you've got any questions and comments during the video, leave them below and I will get back to as many of them as I can. Now, the video today is about the new Atems from Blackmagic Design. We have got an Atem Mini Extreme and an Atem Mini Extreme ISO. And these things are really cool, so I thought I'm going to make a video about it straight away. So I ordered one and, well, it hasn't arrived yet, so I'm going to do this instead. Right, it's bigger than this piece of cardboard, but that's okay because it's not quite to scale and you can't tell from this. It's got a front on it and it kind of folds over a bit, and it's got a back piece, so I'm just going to really... Now, seeing as I don't have one, but I want to show you all the buttons, I printed one out, like this thing here, so I can show you what's on it. Now I've got a knife here, so I can just quickly cut along here. By the way, if you're going to do something like this, do get yourself a decent desktop cutting board, don't cut on your desk. And I'll cut along there, that's excellent, there you go, that's all nicely cut out. I'll put that on the back there and fold it over. This is called budget demoing. Works a bit like double-sided tape, except cheap and nasty. And the buttons need to go along that edge, so that's cool. And that one onto there. Grab a piece of that, double it over, sit on the back there, doubled over, fold it on there, and sitting in there. Okay, let's have a look at this thing and some of the features and stuff on the new Atem Extreme, which is pretty cool. I've ordered the ISO version. The price difference I think is 1,000 US and 1,100 US or 1,150 US. Get the ISO one so you can do the isolated channel recording. Okay, let's have a look at the buttons and all the bits and pieces on here, and I'll go through all the features that this thing has got so you'll know what's there. Okay, here we go. Now, this has got the same input buttons that the Atem Mini has already. 1, 2, 3, 4 HDMIs, except it's got another 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you've got 8 channels in now instead of the 4 channels that we're used to so far. You'll also notice that there are quite a few more buttons on here. Now, I'm just going to show you these ones here, which is the same set of 6 buttons that we've got on the current Atem. So you've got the volume up and down, you've got on and off for the audio channel on that one, you've got audio follows video, the AVF button that we're used to, and the reset button which resets it. The second row of buttons gives us a whole set of camera controls. Now these are mostly if you've got a Blackmagic camera or a Blackmagic Cine camera. We've got gain, we've got focus, shutter speed, and black. That means that you can change the focus and gain and shutter and everything from the desk here without having to go into the Atem control anymore. You can also have multiple of these sitting around for different operators to work on, so you could have different operators controlling each camera, or just do it through the laptop and the software that you're used to doing now. The top row here gives us the mic controls that we used to. So you got mic 1 and mic 2, 2 input that we've got already. You can once again turn those on and off and change the input mic gain. And we've got this new one here which everybody's been wanting for ages, which is headphone inputs. As you know, if you've got an Atem already, listening to the output audio has been a pain in the ass because you need to have something that can split the audio from the HDMI on the output signal for you to be able to listen to what's coming out. So you haven't been able to listen to that program audio independently. Now you can. We've got that headphone output on here. So thank you to Blackmagic for putting that in at last. It's great. Now along the top here we've got another row of buttons that Blackmagic Design are calling the select bus. Now, to be honest, I don't know exactly what this does and I haven't spotted it in documentation yet. There's not a manual out for this one yet. It's still the existing manual for the Atem Mini and Pro ISO that we're used to. So information about that select bus is still to come. But from what I can see on here, it controls different keys. Now, because I do know that we now have 4 upstream keys, there's 2 downstream keys, 5 pattern generators, 2 color generators, 4 chroma key channels, and this is most likely what this is to control, is applying chroma keys and stuff to different channels. And there's also 8 linear or luma keys, 2 DVEs with borders and drop shadows, that's for picture-in-picture and stuff like that. There's a whole heap of new features like this that they've expanded on, basically responding to the type of things that people have been asking on forums and in YouTube videos and things like that, is how can we do a second picture-in-picture and all of this sort of stuff. This is the type of thing that's allowing that. You have to excuse me, I'm looking away at the documentation that we do have as I'm doing this so that I can make sure that what I'm telling you is correct. So we've also got the chroma key controls here and the DVE key here, which is the downstream key, and we've got the disc record and the streaming buttons up here that we're used to as well. So down here we've got the HDMI 1 output selector, including multi-view of course. There's a clean and a program and a preview output available in there as well, which is a little bit new. We've got the program and multi-view at the moment on the existing Atem. I guess these are for the program preview mode switching, so that you can look at what your next selection is and then switch to it, and that might also explain some of the things in the selection bar at the top as well. In the next column here we've got the auto mode and cut mode of course for transitions, and we've got all of the transition selections in here, which are quite a few more. So there's diagonal wipes and circular wipes. The top 4 are the ones that we've got now, I believe. We've got these 2 and these 2 at the bottom. So these diagonal transitions, the square and circle transitions, and the other 2 at the top here are new. What else do we have in here? We have got the transition durations, that's the ones that we're used to already, and there's these other 6 buttons here that fascinated me pretty quickly, which is the macro buttons. I'm not entirely sure what these macro buttons are going to let us do, but I believe that they will let us execute macros that we've created in the Atem software control. That means that we'll be able to do some of our fancy transitions or moving picture-in-picture from one point to another and blowing, sort of growing a picture-in-picture from here to here or something, and doing some fancy animated transitions, that sort of thing basically. Anything that you can record as a macro, hopefully you can map to one of these buttons and be able to do that. The picture-in-picture controls that we have got here, now we've got the on and off on the existing ones, and of course the 4 corner picture-in-picture modes. Now we've also got one which is on the left hand side and 2 picture-in-pictures as well. Now this is a big step up. We can have 2 picture-in-picture things happening at the same time on one Atem, so that means you can have really good for collab videos, for that sort of thing where you've got 2 things happening, and you'll be able to take those 2 picture-in-picture things and put them in different places on the screen as well. I imagine we can already change the location and size and border of existing POP boxes, so I don't see why we can't do exactly the same with 2 of them. And you could have, say, 2 people playing a Minecraft game, or a conversation or a tutorial involving 2 people, which is great because it means that your YouTube videos can have banter between 2 people, and you can have that directly in here and without having to do any post edit for the second picture. And then finally down here we've got 2 media players instead of just the still one that we've got at the moment. We've got the blackout button that we're used to, and then we have got this last button here, which is a super source. I'm not entirely sure what the super source is for and what it does. Once again, this is something that I'm sure will come out when we finally get a manual to read. Until then, we're just going to have to go, ooh, it's super source, and wonder all about it. Now let's have a look at the back panel of this thing as well. Now let's have a look over here. We got a headphone socket. Yay, headphone socket. We've been wanting that for ages and it's finally on here. Brilliant. That's going to save having to spend hundreds of dollars on another piece of kit to separate the audio out, which of course introduces latency, so you're never sure. Awesome, this thing's doing it. We've got the two mic inputs, we're used to those, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 HDMI in. We've got the HDMI out 1, and I'll just stop there for a second because I noticed on the front diagram that these controls for selecting what goes out on HDMI is on HDMI 1. I'm not quite sure then what happens with HDMI 2. It's possibly the program preview thing for us again so we can see what's coming up. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it's a client monitor out or something like that. Now with the second USB, you can either plug a second hard drive into there, and then when the first hard drive's full it will seamlessly switch over like you can do with your Hyperdeck at the moment, or you can plug a phone into one of them. And if you plug a phone in, it will tether your phone and use your phone's data to broadcast to YouTube or Facebook or wherever it is that you're sending your video to. That's awesome. That means you don't need a hub and some other third-party connection when you're working mobile or working in a remote location or something to be able to send your stuff out. You can just do it all straight out of here by plugging your phone in through that USB-C to Lightning or USB-C to your Android phone or whatever it is, and it just goes. I'm loving that. So here's your HDMI 1 and your HDMI 2 and your two USB ports, of course. Nearly at the end here we've got the Ethernet port, which they've labelled Atem control, and of course the power input, which you need or none of it will work. So there you go, there's a quick tour around the Atem Mini, even if it is just made out of cardboard and printed paper because the real thing hasn't arrived yet. When the real thing has arrived, I'm going to start making a series of videos to show you how all these functions work on the Atem Mini Extreme ISO. I am going to get the ISO version. It's ordered. It should be here in a couple of days, I hope. So go ahead and put your questions in the bottom of this video, and then I will go and answer them and make more videos that answer your questions, and we're going to become great mates and all that sort of thing. We're great mates already. Anyway, if you want to see these upcoming videos about this awesome piece of kit that's coming very, very soon, it's in the post, honest, I swear it is, then hit subscribe here and you'll get my videos. Don't forget the notify bell and all that sort of stuff. And also there's this video and this video here, which are going to be really interesting for you to watch because YouTube picked them for you and they know the sorts of things you like because they're watching you all the time. I'll see you later.